I just like being your fourth favorite Indian celebrity.
You got Mindy, you got Aziz, you got Padma Lakshmi.
It's been a while in the making, but I'm delighted to welcome you to our new programme on television. And our TV critic, Dheepthika Laurent, is here. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. We're starting with the highly anticipated fourth series of Narcos, which has just dropped on Netflix.
That's right. Netflix is really a champion of the drug lord drama. You had the 3-season El Chapo series. You have Narcos, of course, which in the first 2 seasons looked at the rise of the drug trade in Colombia with Pablo Escobar. The 3rd season chronicled the Cali cartel that rose to fill the vacuum left after Escobar's death. The new season that's just out takes us to Mexico for the first time, set in the 1980s with the rise of the Guadalajara cartel. Now, it's really the 80s here, complete with the mustaches, the large collared shirts, the questionable haircuts. It's kind of a prequel spin-off, if you like, touted as a series that you can watch even if you haven't seen the previous seasons. Let's take a look.
Agent Camarena, welcome to Guadalajara. Thank you, sir. And you've seen the desert. Time to meet the snakes.
Who's that guy? Miguel Felix Gallardo.
The Rockefeller of marijuana.
You gonna bust his ass?
Mm-hmm.
Bass. Ticket to ride, white line highway. Tell all your friends they can go my way. To up your nose or through your vein with nothing to gain except killing your brain.
It certainly looks exciting. This is really a new Narcos with new characters as well.
That's right. I mean, Narcos producers, they clearly wanted to inject new life into the show. They're shifting away from their leading man. If you've seen the earlier seasons, you'll know the actor Pedro Pascal, who played the relentless agent Javier Peña for the first 3 seasons. Well, he's no longer there. They brought in some new serious star power. You have Star Wars actor Diego Luna, who's playing Felix Gallardo, and Marvel actor Michael Peña playing the DEA agent Kiki Camarena, who's chasing him. You know, this season is bleak. It's grim. It's meant to reflect the futility of the Mexican drug trade. I mean, one of the opening lines to the series is, I'm going to tell you a story, but it doesn't have a happy ending. In fact, it doesn't have an ending at all. You know,
wow.
That's bleak. Unlike the previous seasons, there is no sort of satisfying conclusion. And I think that's really the point of the series. A few thoughts on the season. You know, it starts off slow, as is often the case with these Netflix-produced shows. I mean, the episodes are long. We're talking about an hour each at least. If there's one thing, though, that the series does all too well, it's building suspense. And that really comes to a head with this cat-and-mouse chase between Felix Gallardo and Kiki Camarena.
I never actually made it past the 2nd season of Narcos. This season, though, has been overshadowed by some pretty tragic events.
That's right. Season 4 hasn't been without its own meta TV drama. You had location scout Carlos Munoz Portal, who was shot dead last year while looking for places to film the season in central Mexico, an area that's reputed to have one of the highest murder rates in the country. And also, in a very bizarre case of life imitating art, the season coincides with the real-life criminal trial of El Chapo in New York. There's even an introduction of the El Chapo character in the 2nd episode of Narcos Mexico. He actually started off as an underling of Felix Gallardo and ended up, as we all know, becoming one of the most notorious drug lords in the world.
Now, there also seems to be a focus on showcasing las narcas, which are the women who are stepping out.
Well, up to now, if you've seen in the first couple of seasons, women in Narcos have been in mostly submissive roles, mother, wife, girlfriend, lover, or secondary roles like journalist. But in this new season, at least we get an idea that women are playing a bigger role. You have the wife of Kiki Camarena, the DEA agent, who plays a really strong supporting role to her husband. Isabela Batista, she's a friend of Felix Gallardo. Well, at first she seems the sort of stereotype of that sultry Narcos woman, but it becomes very clear that she too wants in on the business.
Better roles for women, it's about time. Now, in France, the 3rd season of much-loved series 10%, also known as Call My Agent, is out, isn't it?
That's right. This show is set in a Parisian talent agency. We're far, far away from Narcos here. This is set in a Parisian talent agency called ASK. 4 agents representing some of the biggest stars in the French film industry. It's called 10% or 10% in reference to the commission that the agents get from their clients' projects. And I mean, this show is really, it's great. They hilariously, deviously juggle the capriciousness of their clients. They're averting crises in the middle of the night. They're negotiating, manipulating, bribing to keep the business afloat, keep their clients happy, all this while trying to have their own personal lives as well. Now, 10% first aired in France on the French channel France 2 in 2015, but it garnered an international following when its first 2 seasons became available on Netflix.
Why is it so popular then, and especially overseas now?
Well, you know what? It's authentic. It's well-informed. I mean, the show was conceived by Dominique Besnéard, who's a former celebrity agent. He draws on his own personal experiences. And also, I mean, it's funny, it's wicked, it's irreverent, it's feel-good. And for an international audience, it's unmistakably French. I mean, you have these beautiful Parisian offices, and the way that, you know, business and pleasure always seems to mix is very, very French. Now, Andrea Martel, for me, is one of the best characters of the show. She's a ruthless straight shooter. She's really talented. She's got these flashes of personal vulnerability that make her so endearing. Let's take a listen to Camille Cotin. She's the actress who plays her.
She's really intelligent. It's so nice to play an intelligent character, someone who's sometimes even more intelligent than myself. It's fun. She has some great real-time lines, and she always takes a stand.
And the beauty of the show is it has such a stellar guest lineup. All the big stars are in it, aren't they?
That's right, all the big stars. Each episode features a French celebrity ripe for the ridiculing. We've had Isabelle Adjani, we've had the French rapper Joey Starr, a memorable Me Too inspired episode with Juliette Binoche. Season 3 has an even bigger star-studded cast. You have Monica Bellucci, you have Isabelle Huppert, and of course, Jean Dujardin, who's playing himself, playing a method actor who goes a little too far to get inside his character's head, a soldier from the First World War. Take a look.
We allow ourselves this second-degree humor. It's an introspective look at our profession. We're able to laugh at ourselves, and I think that's a great thing.
Ça me fait plaisir de vous voir là comme ça, toujours ensemble. Unis, réunis, une grande famille.
Ça fait 10 ans que j'ai toujours le meilleur chiffre d'affaires de l'agence.
Ouais, sauf qu'un du jardin égale 2 canets.
Fallait pas te déplacer, je connaissais l'agence.
Putain, il y a urgence là, douche, pressing.
I mean, the reviews haven't been golden for this new season. Le Monde's newspaper TV critic called it, quote, soft. Vanity Fair's critic said it lacks the humor and finesse of earlier seasons. Nonetheless, there is a season 4 planned probably for 2020.
Now to another show that's got a lot of buzz since it dropped on Netflix. That's Hasan Minhaj's Patriot Act, which is a 20-minute stand-up show.
That's right, Eve. I mean, Hasan Minhaj, he's really the darling of Netflix. You know, he's already done a stand-up show called Homecoming King for Netflix. Now he's got his own weekly show called Patriot Act that looks at topical events with a comedic spin. It's also very self-aware, as you see here from this NSA-inspired trailer. You know, this is a show for minorities, by minorities. He jokes frequently and irreverently about Muslims, about what he calls quote-unquote brown people. Let's take a look at this cross-promotional teaser that was released ahead of the season, featuring Minhaj with Tan France from Netflix's reboot of Queer Eye.
I love how brown you are.
Yeah, I'm really brown. I'm really brown.
You know, you can move on to more westernized products. We came here.
Tan, no. I think I need to school you.
Yes, please. Clearly,
Tan,
I need it. Yeah.
America is becoming South Asia.
It is.
Yoga, meditation.
They're all about
chai
it.
tea at Starbucks.
Namaste.
Us.
Yes.
By the way, chai tea is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
It is.
You're saying the same thing.
I know.
You're saying tea.
I know the amount of times I've said to somebody, it's literally just chai.
You're saying tea.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, you want some naan bread?
Hasan Minhaj used to be a correspondent at The Daily Show, and it shows, doesn't it?
That's right. The show takes the Daily Show format, but modernizes it for a post-TV age. I'm calling it the post-TV age. Pie charts, sound bites, graphics. You have news reports that parade around in the giant screen behind him. In fact, it kind of feels like a TED Talk, but it really works. You know, his style is sarcastic. He's self-effacing. He's got swagger. He's got charisma. His points are very hard-hitting. He doesn't hold back. You know, he accuses accuses Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman of modernizing dictatorships. He takes down Amazon. He talks about affirmative action. In one of his more recent shows, he called out the hit British show, The Bodyguard, for being Islamophobic and critiqued his employer Netflix for carrying the show on its platform.
So what do you make of it?
Well, personally, it's a little high octane at times. It's gorged with information. Minhaj's jokes can be a little on the nose sometimes, and his use of hand gestures, God, they warrant a show of its own. But you know what? It's a really novel take on the late night show format, and kudos to Netflix for championing diversity. Honestly, it's about time.
Finally, though, to the hotly anticipated TV series adaptation of the Elena Ferrante books. That's out, isn't it?
That's right. The 4-part Italian book series follows the lifelong friendship of Elena and Lila, two girls growing up in the gritty and dangerous streets of Naples. This miniseries is produced by HBO. 8 episodes for each book, staying as authentic as possible. Neapolitan setting, shot entirely in Italian. It was a pretty ambitious project. Elena Ferrante had all but shunned screen adaptations of her books after previous projects disappointed her. For HBO, it's their first foray into foreign language TV. I recommend, though, reading the books first, because you really get a sense of how vivid the books are once you know the characters in the TV series.
Okay, well, Dheepthi, thank you so much for joining us for our first show about television series. And you can judge it for yourself. Let's leave you with some images from the first instalment. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Mi convinsi che niente potesse fermarlo. Ogni sua disobbedienza aveva sbocchi che per la meraviglia toglievano il fiato.